Housewives of Beverly Hills, Teddi Mellencamp. How are you?
Good. How are you? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, but we have a lot to talk about.
Okay, let's get to business.
We have so much to talk about the dog drama.
Oh my gosh,
Doggate 2019.
Doggate. And there's so much more that you haven't seen, but I mean, there's also lots of other things that happen this season.
I'm sure. So on last night's episode, you brought some receipts.
Oh.
We see some text messages.
Oh, Lisa brought receipts.
Yes, Lisa brought receipts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So it's very confusing.
Yes.
So kind of break it down. What's true? What's not true? What's all going on?
Okay. So the truth is, before we started the season, John Blizzard from Vanderpump Dogs called me and said, Lisa wanted you to know the story about the dog.
Sure.
And I was told a very dramatic story. I had a very dramatic response. I'm involved in all of the petty drama that ensues, all at Lisa Vanderpump's instruction. And then you're now seeing a portion of the text printed out.
Right. But then Lisa gets text messages saying that you instructed John to bring the dog, correct?
Well, she has John Blizzard print
Right.
out that text. But that was when we were... I can't give away too much story, and here's
Right.
what I can say.
Okay.
I'm not clean in everything. I made mistakes. I did some wrong things, but every single part of it was because I was told the information, and I almost fell for it.
Yeah.
I almost did. And you see me at Vanderpump Dogs where I'm like, is that her? And then I stop and I can't say anymore, and so then they pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't go through with it.
Sure. Did you almost feel like you were kind of trapped?
Well, I realized what was happening. I realized, at first I was like, okay, maybe I just made all these, these rationalizations in my head. But once Lisa Vanderpump was like, no, don't say anything, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm being set up to do this for her, to make her friend look bad. Yeah. And why am I doing this? Just because I have a past issue with her friend. And I'm in deep, but I have to get out of it. I can't do this. And that's where you see me kind of get uncomfortable, and then you see me kind of panicking, because I had known, for a while before we had filmed there, and then Kyle's finding out, and then now Kyle has this information, and yet still Lisa doesn't tell Dorit that Kyle knows.
Why do you think that she would do this?
I think she would do it because it's a way to make Dorit and I look bad and keep her hands clean.
Yeah, but she was friends with Dorit.
But I think truthfully, and this is hard to say, I don't think she cares what we think. Yeah. I think she cares what you think.
Right. So you think that she's more concerned about her image rather than the friendships that she has. Yeah.
And and I regret the things that I did and how I played into it. And that all comes out, and hopefully, you'll be able to see more than just that little portion of the text exchanges, because that's what will show this wasn't my idea.
Yeah. What do you wish you handled a little bit differently?
I wish I would have said that from that very first phone call, this doesn't involve me. I don't care if Lisa wanted you to tell me. I don't want to know. Right. I wish I would have done it. And you know what? I didn't, and I made a mistake, and I had to live with it. I have to apologize for it. And I feel silly that I even went down that road, but I think I'm not justifying my behavior, but in my mind I was thinking, okay, I'm a newer housewife, they're reaching out to me for Lisa, this must be what happens. This is part of how it works.
Is it almost like she chose you on purpose?
Well, of course. I'm the one that didn't have a good relationship with Dorit, and I'm the newest. Yeah. I mean, who else is she going to choose? She'd already done it to Lisa Rinna. Yeah. I mean, right. Erica, no. I mean, there's no other options.
Yeah. What is your relationship like with Lisa now?
I mean, I saw her at Denise's wedding, and I agreed. I'm like, listen, I'm happy to coexist with you. But that's where I leave it. I'm not angry. I'm more angry at myself for falling for it. But if you can't have resolution with a person that can't admit fault. I made mistakes. I'm sorry. I apologize for them. You guys will have to see how this all plays out. But how can you grow a friendship that's not based on truth?
Right. No, that's true.
So that's really how I feel.
Now, there are some rumors going around that there is going to be a Vanderpump Dogs spinoff.
Wouldn't that be convenient? Really? I wonder why they based a whole drama about a dog.
Do you feel like you should be like executive producer since you kind of like helped make
oh my
this happen?
God, here's my like percentage. No, I just honestly I feel bad that I don't know if there will be or there won't be. I don't know, and truthfully I don't care.
Yeah.
But what I do think is, if this was really about their concern about a dog. Why didn't they go do a home check on the new owner that Dorit gave the dog to? Why didn't they say, Dorit, go pick up that dog and bring it back to the shelter? It wasn't. It was about the story. It wasn't about the dog. So when people are saying, Teddi, why aren't you upset at the dog? Why aren't you mad at Dorit? Because it wasn't about the dog. The dog's safe. The dog's at Vanderpump Dogs. The dog is fine. This is about friendship. This is about creating a disaster and then trying to keep your hands clean to look like you're perfect. And that's not fair, and that's not right. And it's the injustice of it is why I have such a strong conviction.
Yeah.
And yes, it kills me that I can't sit here and pull up my phone and show you every text message because I'm not allowed. I have to wait, and I have to wait for you guys to see it. But I know myself, and I know when I make mistakes, I say I'm sorry, but I also know that I'm not a liar.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of viewers are going to maybe turn on Lisa after they see
I'm not asking anybody to turn. I mean, I think she's got such a loyal fan group that she could do anything and they're going to turn a blind eye. And for me, it's not about turn. It's just about you. We all can't grow. We all can't do this if we're all not being respectful of one another and knowing that when you make a mistake, you say you're sorry. If you do something wrong, it would have never gotten to this point that we are right now if she would have said, listen, guys, I'm sorry. I let this go too far. Dorit, I wasn't over it. I was upset at you.
Yeah. And it all could have just been done.
Yeah, and then none of us wanted to do this because also we all know this is going to end up really hurting Dorit.
Right.
Which, regardless of what anybody thinks about Dorit, she's a good person. And you know what? We may have drama or we not have drama. It doesn't mean that she needs like animal activists out against her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She really thought she was doing the right thing, and I feel bad for the part that I did play in it. But
do you think Dorit should have just called Lisa beforehand?
Yeah, of course. But obviously, you know, in my mind, she was probably scared. Look what happened.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, she called her the day after. She didn't call. She called her the day after she gave the dog away and said, you know, I gave it away to my friend, blah blah blah. Not my friend. I gave it away to
someone that she thought was
going to be a good dog owner. And they didn't do anything about it. She said, okay.
Yeah.
But then this whole entire thing was planned. I was told a much more dramatic story. And to get me all riled up.
Yeah. Oh. Did this...
And I played into it.
Right. Did this bring you closer with Dorit?
I mean, I think Dorit... I wouldn't say this situation brought us closer, but I think us throughout this season, I think I'm closer with a lot of the women.
Okay.
Because as we get further into it, we start having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have fun last year.
No.
I had zero fun.
Right.
And I wasn't able to ever let loose because I really felt uncomfortable. So people this year are like, oh, have you changed? I'm like, I haven't changed. I just know people now.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier.
It makes it, when you have real opinions about something, you don't mind saying them. But I wasn't going to come in, like, you can tell when that happens, when somebody comes in and they have these big opinions. Like, I hadn't watched the show. I didn't have preconceived notions. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I just really wanted to wait and build real relationships with people and then start acting how I felt.
Does Dorit follow you on Instagram now?
She does.
Yes, nice. Good to know.
And our kids are really tight friends, and she's a good person, and she doesn't deserve what she's getting.
Right. And then, I mean, we see that Lisa and Kyle have a huge falling out at the beginning, and we kind of are waiting to see how that unfolds. What's their relationship like now? Because it kind of seems like Lisa always kind of takes a little bit of jabs at Kyle.
And I think that's what we started seeing, you know. I just think the better way is just to be direct. Because what ends up happening is when you start jabbing somebody, you jab them so much that then they get like a callus.
Yeah.
And then that's what they just expect from you, and that's not okay, and that's not friendship. And I hopefully if they want to, they can work it out. But I don't think they're speaking right now. But I think that you see Lisa, she jabs, but then when she can't be jabbed back.
Yeah.
And not that it's a tit for tat, but like if you're gonna dish it out, you got to be able to take it.
I mean, what would it take for Lisa to kind of get back into the friend circle, I guess?
I mean, for me, I don't think that every single one of us have a personal relationship with her that's been affected. It's not like a group mentality in any way. So, like, she at any point could call any one of us and mend whatever relationship she wanted. Where I stand is I will always be cordial. I will treat you with respect, but I don't trust you. So that's where we are. So I'm not saying I can't sit at a dinner table with you and ask you how your day was, but I would never share myself with you in that way.
Do you think a lot of the girls feel like that too?
I can't speak for them.
Right, but
they, I mean, they all have their, you know, independent issues.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you think that a lot of this may be because she dealt with so much last year?
I think she's done this before.
Yeah.
So, and I think, I mean, when I'm upset, and even on a much less scale, the first thing I think about is not how can I hurt my friends.
Right.
What can I do to, and that's just the truth. And it sucks.
How did Denise feel being thrown into?
Yeah, I had dinner with Denise the other night, and you know what? She's fun. She's cool. Fun. Like, her and I are polar opposites. I am completely type A, like organized, like everything by the book. She's like, whatever, see how it goes, like fly by the seat of my pants. But I think that's fun, and I like being able to get to know her. And you know what? She speaks her truth. As the episodes keep coming, I mean, you get to see more of Denise, and like, she's cool, she's open, she's honest. Like, by the end, she's in the mix of it, you know, like, so it's cool.
Do you think she fits in well?
Yeah, I think that any time that you bring in another person that isn't, when we're all the same, like, wouldn't that be so boring?
Yeah.
So the fact that
I love that she shows up to breakfast in like her pajamas.
I know. I'm like, yeah,
that would totally be me.
I know that happens. Yeah, but she's cool, and she's, you know, gets along with everybody. Like, she's not pretending to be something that she's not. She's very like open and honest and funny, and like, she's good.
She's good, yeah. Who have you gelled with the most this season?
Well, just in general, I'm very close with Kyle. Yeah. Like, she's like my person. Like, if something bad, good, whatever, like, Kyle's one of the people that I would call. I'm very close with her. But I think the relationships within, you know, most of the women have grown with time, because the more time you spend one-on-one with somebody, the more you can build the relationship. So like last year everything was kind of a group setting for me. This year I'm doing things with individuals, so I get to know them more.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. I know you can't tell us everything, obviously, that happens the rest of the season, but you did say that there's a lot more drama in store. Can you tease anything that's...
I mean... There's some action with Camille coming up.
Nice.
I mean, there's so much. There are so many times that, like, you think everything's just, and then you're whack.
Bombshell.
Like, what? And I mean, it goes away from dog gate. There's all different, is that what you guys called it? Dog gate, puppy gate, puppy juicy gate. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. We have a lot of fun this year, but there's a lot of drama.
I feel like we haven't seen Camille in a lot of drama in a while.
No.
So hang tight. Does your family sit down and like watch the show?
My kids,
your kids probably don't. Yeah.
No. My husband and I watch it together, but like, which is kind of a mistake, because he's always like, "Oh, it's gonna be rough for you this week." I'm like, "Don't! You're making me more." He's like, "Don't worry though. The truth always prevails. You just got to give it time." I'm like, "Well, then can you just zip it at the beginning?" Yeah. I know. I'm watching this. I see. It's going to be terrible for me.
Sure, yeah.
But here's the thing. I can live with myself because I know in the end, like, I'm honest. And I can live with it because we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. I say I'm sorry for the mistakes that I make, and that's how you move on.
Sure. And I know you're very open and honest on Instagram too about, you know, being that way. Is it ever hard to see like fan comments and viewer remarks about?
I mean, I would be lying. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, don't read it, don't pay attention to it." Easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, I want people to be able to pick favorites and say, "I love her, that I relate to her, I don't like her." I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What bothers me is when the attacks become really brutal. Like, regardless of whatever issue I'm having with any of the women on the show, I don't wish death upon them. I don't think they're vile, disgusting human beings. I mean, we're all, like, it goes a little bit too far, and it really it's hard to be excited about something when you're hearing that kind of negativity.
Course, yeah.
But I just have to remember, okay, it's all right. You have all the things that matter, they're all right here.
Yeah, definitely. Has this changed your marriage at all?
I would say last year it did a little bit, but for the positive, because you know, when you've been married for a while, you get into like, you'll go on a date and maybe you'll look at your phone or like you just check out a little bit. When you're filming, you are very present.
Right.
And so we realized, like, gosh, we really like need to be communicating. And especially now, like, my business is crazy.
Yeah,
we have little kids. His business is crazy. I film Housewives. Like, we need to be a team. So like, we are in constant communication. And like, we're really like, we've set our schedule so that like, we have our bonding time. And like, it was like that little like reminder, like this is us and we're a team and it's important that like we band together.
Are you gonna let your kids watch eventually?
I mean, they're very young. They're gonna have to wait, but I can't control them once they're over 18.
Yeah. Is there like one moment that you're like, oh my God, I'm dreading for them to see?
I mean, I think every moment, me watching myself, oh look, I'm doing it right now, but like my hands, like why do they need to be moving around like this?
Right.
Like, I try, like, no, everything.
Everything.
I mean, it's a complete embarrassment.
Is there anything that you wish you didn't open up about?
No, open up about, I think, that if I wouldn't do the show and be a closed off version of myself. I mean, I wish, in hindsight, I wouldn't have said, like, I wouldn't have fallen into the trap this year, but I can live with it now because I've been honest.
Yeah, definitely. And I know something that you've been open and honest about is fertility and miscarriages and things like that. Was it great to have so many people, I'm sure, reach out to you and say, you know, I'm going through the same thing, because a lot of people don't talk about it.
And I think that's why, you know, when it was happening to me, I felt so alone, because I didn't realize how many people it had happened to. Because as we get further in time, more people are being open about their struggles, and it's okay. But I think the further you go back, the people, you hide in it because you don't want anybody to know that you're struggling.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't even want Edwin to know.
Oh, really?
Like, I didn't even want him to know the level I was at. And I mean, it was at a point where my dad and Edwin were both like, what's going on? And they were like, here's the deal. This is your last round. You're not doing another round of IVF after this. If this one doesn't work, you have to take a break because it's taking a toll on who you are. And I'm like, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm fine. You know?
Yeah.
Because you want to be strong and you want to, you know.
Yeah, well, and so many people go through it.
And I mean, it's hard right now. It's something I still struggle. I mean, I would love to be able to have another baby. But I don't know that I can do it again. I don't know that I can go through that process again.
Yeah, just
I love how I get emotional.
Right, no, it
but
is,
like, the thought of having, you know.
Just physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to make you does your dad still watch the show? I know the last time.
He does, but he like always, luckily he's on tour, so he's on a little bit of a delay. So I can be like, it'll be 2 days, like I've recovered from like the Twitter hate, and then it's my dad. But luckily his hate is always on something else. It's like, why are you wearing so many hats? Or like, do you have fake eyelashes on? You know, like it's never what the actual problem is.
Yeah.
Because he's like looking at like, you know, this is my little girl who like honestly 9 times out of 10 has no makeup on, is a hot mess express, and now I see her like.
That's hysterical. Does his fiance Meg watch the show?
I mean, we've all watched it together.
Really?
Which is like, you honestly, you want to like put your head down and be like, well guys, I'm really coming up in the world.
Yeah. What do they think of Doggate?
I mean, they know, like, I mean, I've been talking, even when I was filming, when I was living it, I mean, I would call my dad like crying. I'm like struggling with this whole thing. So I mean, he knows, and he knows like he knows I made a mistake, but he knows in the end like it happens.
Yeah. How are his wedding plans going?
Oh, he does not include me, loudmouth. He's like, all I know is that they're a great couple. They like. You know, they bring out the best in one another, and I'm excited for them.
Yeah, he'll just tell you right before.
Yeah, like, he'll be like, tomorrow. Nobody is giving me any heads up. They're like, really? You're going over to Us Weekly? Yeah, sure. Let us fill you in.
Right. I'll give you the date, the time, location, everything.
You bring the cam.
Exactly. And congrats on business. I know it's booming.
Thank you. It's truly incredible. I mean, I love it. I love not only having my clients, but like all of my clients that have become coaches and are now helping other people change their lives. It's really incredible. And truthfully, it's going to sound like selfish, but it really holds me accountable to my health and fitness goals. And like, it really has set me up in a way that I'm staying consistent, and it's the longest in my life I've ever stayed consistent. So thank you.
Would you work out like almost every single day?
I'm active every day. So people are like, does that mean you don't give yourself a recovery day? I'm like, some days I just go on a walk. Yeah. Or some days I do a yoga class. But like, I take an hour a day that's like, I call it like, it's like my therapy. Because I feel better. If not, I'm so in my head with work, in my head with Real Housewives, in my head with family, that like I don't take that time for me. It's going to backfire.
Sure. Do you allow yourself to have cheat meals and things like that?
I do. I mean, for me, it's about balance. So, like, if I'm going to go out to dinner, I like say, let's say I have like steak and asparagus or whatever. I then would choose: am I going to have a dessert or am I going to drink?
Yeah.
And so it's making that choice.
Sure.
And that way, I don't have. Before, when I would diet, I would have things like anger about it. Like, I deserve to have these things. Now it's, no, this is a choice.
Right.
I'm eating dessert tonight, or it's a choice, I want to have wine with my girlfriend. Like, whatever it is, but I can live with that.
Sure, totally. Yes, so I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Thanks,
and I know
you too.
I was going to say, it's probably hard when you're out with the Real Housewives to pick dessert or wine because you always want to drink wine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the Housewives, the amount of drinking is a lot more than like when I'm home, it's like, no.
Right, yes.
But there, it's needed.
Needed, I'm sure, especially this season. Well, Teddi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And make sure to watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It airs on Bravo Tuesdays at 9.
Thank you.